Welcome to this mobility routine for full body. We'll begin in hero's pose and just start to roll the shoulder blades up, back, and down 5 times. So rolling up, back, and down. This is number 3, 4, and then we'll do one more, and 5. Good. And begin to come into tuck toes here. Make sure the pinky toes are tucked under. Sitting back on the heels, we'll roll forward, up and down. Good. Forward and down. 3 more at your own pace. 2 and 1. Good. Settle the shoulder blades down. Relax the hands. Come into hands and knees. Untuck your toes and begin to drop the belly down. Look forward into cow pose. Exhale, curl your back up. Move your chin to your chest and tuck your tail for cat. Again, moving open into cow pose and then tuck under into cat. We'll take 3 more at your own pace. Opening up the front body and opening up the back body. Maybe take a breath in as you extend through the heart and exhale as you push the shoulder blades skyward. One more time at your own pace, and then we'll settle into a neutral spine. Reach your hands forward, a full handprint, and sit back into child's pose. Toes stay untucked, but keep looking to your fingers and roll forward into a modified plank. Sit back into child's pose, and we're going to do 5 of these as well, and then wave forward into a modified plank. Sit back into child's pose, and back into a modified plank. 2 more at your own pace, pushing back. And waving forward, starting to open up the wrists and the shoulders, sitting back as well as the hips and the back, and push forward. Good. And then we'll come back into a neutral position. We're going to press into your left hand and reach your right hand to the sky. Reach your right arm underneath the left and thread the needle as you drop your right ear to the floor. Again, take a big breath in, reach your right hand up to the sky and thread the needle through that left arm. And for some of us, that's not going to feel great, so you could take the hand to the back of the head and open the elbow up, and then maybe just simply tap the elbow towards the left wrist. And you could continue on like that if that feels a little bit better, or you could finish out reaching that hand up to the sky and threading the needle through. So up to you, personal preference. We'll bring that right hand to the mat. We're going to reach our left hand to the sky, or take the left hand to the back of the head and thread the needle through, or tap elbow to wrist. Reaching up and tapping through. Good. 3 more at your own pace. Thread the needle through. Starting to open up the thoracic spine, getting a little rotation, and thread the needle through. We'll take 1 more. Reaching up, opening the heart, and then really feeling the shoulder blade open there as the left ear comes to the mat. Good. We'll come back to neutral spine. And we're going to begin to sit down onto your seat. So I'm going to face you just so you can see a little bit better. You face wherever you need to. But we're going to open up the knees and the feet just a little bit and place our hands behind our back. So let's drop the knees over towards the right side of your mat. And we want that left knee and right knee to be in like a 90-degree angle. Start to feel that stretch in the hips. And when we come back to center, we're going to drip the knees over to the left. And again, maintaining that 90-90 position. So this is the most modified version. If you feel okay, we're going to walk our hands forward a little bit more. Maybe hands return back behind you. Keep the chest up really tall, and then walk the hands forward a little bit. So maybe feeling that a little bit deeper. So stop where it feels good to you. Maybe we even lean forward a little bit as we come over to the right, and as we wipe over to the left, maybe lean forward over that knee. Now we could maybe even do no hands, but try to keep that back really still. Again, leaning forward if it feels available in the hips, and wave over to the left and lean forward if it's available in the hips. So we could stay right there, or maybe even starting to push up onto the knees and drive your hips forward. So that's the most advanced version there. And softly lower your seat back to the mat. And over to the left, push your hips forward and through. So lots of options for everybody here. Just find a place that feels good and work on that mobility. We'll take one more on each side. Good. I'm a little shaky on this, so I need to get a little bit better at these. And sit the hips back. Good. So come back to neutral spine. We'll bring our feet together, and then you can turn if you need to, but roll all the way down onto your back. And we're going to either keep the knees bent or straight, but take your hands up and out into like a T shape with your fingertips pointing towards the sky. So we're going to drop our palms towards the floor for internal rotation of the shoulder, and then reach the fingertips back up, and then drop the hands back for external rotation. Stop where you feel comfortable, and then reach your hands overhead, stretch your whole body out long, and then field goal the arms back. Good. Fingertips up to the sky, palms reaching towards the mat, lifting fingertips back up, drop hands back, and then stretch overhead high. So be very patient with yourself here if you're really tight in your shoulders. Good. So dropping hands back to the mat, fingertips back up, hands back, reach overhead high. Move at your own pace, elbows back to field goal arms, fingertips back to the sky, palms to the mat, fingertips back up, back of the hands to the mat. Reach hands overhead high. Move at your own pace. Lift the fingertips up, palms to the mat, fingertips back up high, back of the hands to the mat, and reach overhead high. Good. And then palms back up. So let's bend your left knee and roll to your right side. So with your hands in line with your right shoulder, we're going to drop our head down to the mat, and our left knee is bent up and our right leg is out straight. Think about the left hand reaching up and overhead and the nose following your thumb, and look over to that left hand as you are in a full spinal twist. Then the left hand's going to circle back around and come back on top of the right hand. I want you to think about keeping the hand in contact with the floor the whole time as the nose is following the left thumb. Good. And rolling over. So you may feel this a lot in your chest. And wherever you feel it is fine. Just really honor your body and don't push too deeply. And just enjoy this stretch. We're moving very fluidly. That's a great way just to open up without straining or stressing. And maybe the first one's not the best one, but the last one feels maybe a little bit different than the first one. Good. We'll take one more here, looking over to the left hand, stretching that hand back up, and then just relax. And so we'll come back onto your back, maybe draw the hands back to center, and we'll roll to your left side. So our right knee will be kind of hiked up, our left leg is out long. Our hands are on top of each other, stretched out long, and they're in line with that left shoulder. So we're going to begin to reach our right hand up and over and around and looking towards that thumb, and then sweeping the fingertips back so that palms come to touch again. So like an open book, but keeping the right hand on the floor the whole time if you can. And maybe you don't go all the way. Maybe you stop that range of motion a little bit short if it's painful or if it's just really difficult for you. Coming back to this practice often just to see where you're at any given moment. Good. We'll take a few more at your own pace. Remember that nose is kind of following the thumb. And back around. And one more. Sweeping the hand up, over, and around. And maybe even feeling this in the right glute a little bit. And coming back onto the hand. Good. So just roll yourself onto your belly here. And I'm going to show you the move we're about to do first. So we're going to take the top of the hands to the small of the back. And this is just a demonstration here. But we'll let the elbows drop to the floor. We're going to lift the elbows up and then sweep the hands over and around above your head and try to touch your thumbs together. Now my head's lifted here, but I want you to try to keep your head down if you can. And then the tops of the hands come to the small of the back. And then elbows come all the way down. So keep your forehead grounded to the mat. Lift your elbows up. Good. Release the hands. We're going to sweep them over our head. Try to touch thumbs together. And then sweep the hands back. Touch the tops of the hands to the small of the back and lower your elbows down. So a black burn. Lift the elbows up. Hands sweep forward and overhead. This one's kind of challenging, so just stop where you need to, or maybe just don't even do this one if it hurts the shoulders. Elbows back down. Elbows lift up, hands sweep forward, thumbs come to touch, hands sweep back, tops of the hands to the small of the back, and elbows come to the mat. Good. Elbows lift up, hands sweep forward, thumbs come to touch, hands sweep back, tops of the hands to the small of the back, and elbows come down. One more. Elbows lift, hands sweep, thumbs touch, hands back, tops of the hands to the small of the back, and elbows are down. Good. Now just place your hands underneath your shoulders and come up into hands and knees when you're ready. From here, we're going to begin to step our left foot forward into a low lunge position. So that right hip kind of drops down here, back toes are untucked. We're going to keep our right hand on the mat and reach your left hand up to the sky. So open up the heart. Maybe heel toe your left foot over a little bit and try to draw your elbows somewhere inside of that left knee. Reach that left hand back up, open the heart, and take your left elbow somewhere inside the left knee. So this is the first variation. A little bit harder, we're going to keep that back knee lifted and open the heart, and then back knee stays lifted as elbow comes down. You may feel that a little bit more in the hips. So we'll take 2 more at your own pace, just elbow moving somewhere inside the knee. It doesn't have to go all the way to the floor. And just feel a good stretch. So place the left hand onto the mat, lower your back knee if it's lifted, and just step back into hands and knees, and then sit back for a child's pose for just a moment. Come back into hands and knees, step your right foot forward to the outside edge of your right hand. Keep the back knee grounded, reach that right hand up to the sky, and then lower that elbow somewhere inside that knee. So you may feel different on one side versus the other, and that's okay. Elbow comes inside knee. And your choice, maybe the back toes tuck and you lift that back knee and keep it up as you lower the elbow down. And reaching up. And then elbow down inside the knee somewhere. So begin to take 3 more at your own pace. Again, the first one doesn't have to be the best one. Just moving a little deeper each time if it feels good to you. Good, so elbow comes inside the knee, and then we'll place our right hand onto the mat. Lower your back knee if it's lifted, and step your right knee back with the left knee, and just sit back in for an easy child's pose here for just a moment. When you're ready, come back to hands and knees. We're going to begin to step your right foot forward again. And this time we're going to spin your left foot open and come up with the hands in the chest. So begin to square your hips open to the edge of your mat. We don't want that leg out really straight or really bent. We want the right knee to stack right on top of the right ankle. Square your hips open and think about pushing your right knee into an imaginary wall so that your outer hip engages and you feel a little bit more of a stretch of the inner thigh. So hands can be on the waist, or maybe you even clasp hands together. But begin to rock your right knee over your right toes as far as you can till you feel a really nice stretch in the knee and the ankle. And coming back up, and then rock back in. There's like a little sweat bee trying to get after me during this whole part. Come back up, rock into that right knee, and come back up. We'll take 2 more at your own pace. I really love this stretch for my runners, just to get the ankle and the knee and the hip all moving really well together. And then we'll come back up. So this time just drop your right knee underneath your hip and step your left foot out to the side. So open the hips, push that left knee into that imaginary wall. Start to square your chest open, and hands come where they feel most comfortable. That left knee is on top of left ankle, and then we ride that left knee forward over the toes. Come back up. So you may not be able to go this deep, and you may be able to go deeper than me. So wherever you feel good is where you're supposed to be. Just be at peace with that and keep working on it. Good. And we'll take 1 more at your own pace, just opening that inner thigh and the ankle, and we'll come back into center. So drop the left knee underneath your hips, sit back in hero pose for just a second, and then we'll spin the feet in front of you and come into a nice easy seat. And that can be really any easy seated position that feels good to you. But we'll roll the shoulder blades up, back, and down, sit up nice and tall, maybe even close the eyes, and just take a few moments for some words of affirmation. I am strong. I am capable. I can do what I set my mind to. I will choose to make today a good day. I am happy. And when you're ready, sweep your hands over your head high, draw your hands to touch over your third eye into heart center. And thank you so much for practicing with me today.